Hey everyone, it is Sunday, September 22nd. Welcome to Message in the Bottle. I am Eric Meehan. I am here in my store, Bangor Wine and Cheese Company. For those keeping track biodynamically, it is a root day. So, once again, break out a nice fruit-forward something, or maybe a nice frosty beverage. Heck, just have water. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about pairing. It's a question I get asked all the time here in my shop and in all the shops I've worked with, in the past. Because, people tend to stress about it. They tend to stress about a lot of things in wine, which is why I'm doing this series in the first place. Pairing, first of all, before we even talk about how to pair, I want to be super upfront. Always be honest about what you want to spend with your friendly local wine merchant. Bearing in mind, of course, everything has inflated. That's the name of the game these days. So your old $15 favorites are probably your new $20 favorites. But that being said, we'll be honest with you. If you're looking for something that just doesn't exist in that price range, we'll be, hey, that's not going to work. So maybe we find an alternative, or maybe you treat yourself, or whatever. But the point is, first of all, always be honest about budget, because wallets are very tight and very, very empty these days. I get it, you get it, so please, let's start there. With any pairing or any other video I do about buying wine. So pairing. First of all, the obvious that everybody always sort of knows is white meat, white wine, red meat, red wine. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a really good place to start. Bearing in mind that, of course, not all white wines are created equal. Not all red wines are created equal, and of course there's always the rosé wines that no one even talks about, but is one of my favorite things. So we'll talk about all those. First of all, white wines. So this is a classic white Rioja here. Yeah, beautiful. Light, fresh, fermented in tank. Will go absolutely great with all those classic white meats, your roast chicken, your white fish, your halibuts, etc. It'll go great with at a basic level. It'll go just perfectly with a lot of seafood, things like that, salads. So that's cool. Is it perfect for everything that a white wine would be great with? No, because there's some white wines that are heavier, richer, that might go better with certain things. There's certain white wines that have more acidity or less acidity. It's kind of fun, dude. Sorry, I get distracted easily. There's the point on the white wines, but that's a good place to start. Now, red wines, same sort of deal. This is a great little, kind of grippy Côte d'Aron. It's going to go great with your burgers, your steaks. Your pork is actually kind of good with either. It's a white meat, but it can be dressed up. And that actually brings up a really good point. How is that meal going to be dressed up when you have it? Because, like I often give the advice, and I'll probably do a Thanksgiving episode, but when people come in for Thanksgiving, I'm like, look, everything pairs with turkey. It's what you're going to have on the sides that really matters. Are you going to have sweet potato souffle? Are you going to, like me, have green bean casseroles? Is it going to be more savory, more sweet? Combination of all those. That's really going to influence a lot of this. If you're having pork chops that are going to be done with like some sort of Asian orange glaze or something that's going to be sort of tangy sweet with a little bit of salty soy, that's one thing. If you're having pork chops that are done with, herb de Provence, that's a different thing. Are they both savory? Yeah, but one is way different than the other. And I probably don't need to tell you that, but it's something that, will come up. However, that said, this simple white would go beautifully with either of those options. So often you'll hear people like me especially, ask, how is the thing being prepared? If you're telling me I'm having a bolognese sauce, I don't need to know that doesn't have Asian influences. If it does, please tell me, because what? So stuff like that. But, it's always important to think about things like that. How is that particular protein, or if you're not a protein person, well, I mean a meat person, I suppose, how is, it could be tofu, I don't care. How is that going to be prepared? And rosés, again, are fantastic gap bridgers. They go great with a lot of that sort of sweet, tangy thing that you'll get with like barbecue sauce, be it barbecue sauce from America or barbecue sauce from Korea, or name it, right? So rosés are also really, really great with a lot of like Middle Eastern cuisines. that have a lot of interesting spices that are at times exotic, and they catch a lot of the essences that a lot of rosés have. Why is that? I mean, a rosé is simply a red wine that you drain faster, right? Yeah, but it's a different beast, isn't it? So, and to further complicate matters, bubbles, right? Bubbles are awesome because, first of all, and also rosé bubbles are awesome. Bubbles, if you're talking about like dry bubbles, so say you're having, I don't know, fried chicken tonight, and you're like, I don't really want like a red wine with fried chicken. I don't really want a white wine. I want something that's going to kind of have, bubble, it's sort of like a beer. When you'd have a beer, but you don't want to have beer, you want to have wine. Bubbles, right? They're great. You've got inexpensive fun bubbles. You've got serious, bubbles. You've got everything in between. I love bubbles. I love bubbles. They make a fantastic pairing because they go with pretty much anything. And they go great on their own too, right? So, you haven't seen someone in a while, you want to do a little toast, maybe someone graduated, whatever, and you can carry that through till dinner. It's perfect. And it's also a good catch-all when you're like, I don't know, I don't really want that. Bubbles. So pairing can be a lot of things. Also, and I know I've been going on for a little while, I try to keep these kind of condensed. The other thing is going sort of with how the food's being prepared. Try to think about what maybe the chefs of those meals were drinking and drinking with the food that they were making, right? So say you're in a place where there's a lot of tomato influence, like your bolognese sauce, for instance, right? The Sangiovese grape that grows in Tuscany and other places has a really, really amazing affinity to match up with tomato sauce. The acidity, the medium-bodied, the flavor profile of Sangiovese, this is in general, again, of course, this Sangiovese taste, but you get my point. The chef is probably drinking that. It could be in the sauce itself. They maybe glug, glug, glug. And bear in mind that a lot of, country wines that maybe these people were quaffing and throwing in sauces aren't like the best, oak-aged wines. They were simple, probably stuff that they got at the co-op, whatever. So simple wines are a really good place to start, and then you can get up from there depending on what sort of wine and what sort of dish and what sort of budget, going back to the beginning. So anyway, I hope this has cleared up some stuff. There's a lot of different ways you can pair wine, but the most important thing, drink what you like to drink. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.